Hi everyone, this is Ada. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to part 2 of the story of my handbag. So let's go straight into it. My bag, which is the Mulberry Lily, this sort of has a long story. Okay, let's start when I had young children and my husband was traveling overseas for business. I tagged along, and I think my youngest at the time was probably about 4, and my mum minded my children and I tagged along, and I remember thinking, I really would love a Mulberry bag, can't afford it, but one day I'm going to get a Mulberry bag. And I remember thinking, you know, that's my aim. Little did I know, fast forward, I'd have a really fantastic handbag collection. So we went home and it was always in my mind because I couldn't afford it on that first trip. So in 2016, my husband and I were celebrating 35 years of marriage, and we booked ourselves a 3-week overseas trip. First we went to the US. So we were in New York, then we went on to the UK, we were in London, and then we went on to France, Paris. And so this bag was bought, I must say, when I was in the US. We did have lunch with a couple of YouTubers, which was fantastic. Then we went on to the UK, and I finally could afford to buy my Mulberry bag. I went in, found a boutique, because it's hard in Brisbane to get Mulberry, and I was going to buy the Bayswater bag because I'd always wanted that, but when I went in there it just didn't do it for me. I'm very much an emotional buyer, probably not as practical. I don't look at my bags necessarily as practical. I look at what my heart says at the time, what grabs me, the colour, the shape. So I went in and I had a fantastic sales associate, and I just fell in love with the Lily bag. So the Lily bag was sort of second on my list, but I remember just having a really good look in the store. I remember her giving me such good service, and it was just 35 years of marriage. It was a really good trip. So that's what I purchased in the UK. Then last leg of the trip was a week in Paris, or France I should say, and I bought this Marcie Chloe bag from the Chloe store in Paris. And the story on this bag is that years beforehand I had gone to New York and purchased the Marcie wallet in the same color, and I really couldn't afford the bag at the time because I'd bought other bags in New York, and I really had this on my wish list, and then I just went off it and life got in the way, and you know, you do other things, you buy other things. And I had a group of girlfriends coming to my house for some champagne and nibbles, and in walks my friend who'd previously been overseas with this bag. Well, then it became an obsession basically. I'm like, oh, that bag, I remember that bag, oh, I love that bag. And Belle at the time was a puppy, so I said to my friend, you are going to put your bag under my stairs, which has a door you could shut, because I was so scared that Belle, who I think was only 5 months old at the time, was going to get hold of a bag. So I said, leave it in there, it'll be safe. But I always remembered that bag. And when or before we traveled overseas, I researched where the Paris store was, went in, had a really good experience in the Paris store. The only issue with this bag was what color I was going to pick, and I then decided to go the same color as the wallet. So I love this bag, and I think Chloe leather is underrated. This is an amazing bag. The quality of this bag is fantastic. So that's the story on her. Then fast forward to 2019. My husband had to travel overseas again for business. We went to, he was supposed to go to Spain, so the business trip was Spain, but we decided to spend a week in Rome before we went on to Spain. And we always try and do that when we go overseas. We try and tack on a week or two for something that we want to do. So we went to Rome, we went to the Colosseum, and of course you have to shop, don't you? So this is the Chloe Faye bag, and this was researched before I left home quite extensively. This is not the most practical bag, but I still love the look of her. I knew that this doesn't wear as good as it should, but I still wanted her in my collection, and I just love the it's like a boho bag, and I just love that boho look. I like the mixed metals. So I went in, and in Rome it's sort of like a department store where it has all the individual shops. that makes sense. So for someone that lives in the US, it might be like Macy's, or for an Australian ladies, it's like David Jones or Myer. And in Rome, it was a couple of levels, I believe, like a department store, and they had their individual little shops. And I got this really lovely girl who helped me. I looked at a lot of colors and decided to get this color. So that's the story behind her. And then, of course, I had a little bit of money left over. So this was not planned at all. This is I think the mini Roy bucket bag. And I just got drawn to the color, and I think this bag has been a real good buy because it has this gusset, and I fit a lot more in her, and I actually use her more than the other bag. So I think the girl was quite happy that, you know, I made 2 sales for her that day. But and then I remember we went off to lunch, and because I'm a celiac, we had researched where to get pasta that was gluten-free. So we found this beautiful cafe restaurant, had a glass of red wine and had our pasta, and I had my packages, and it's a really good day, and it holds a special place in my heart, that trip. Now the last bag, which is sort of a bit separate, was bought in Sydney. I was down in Sydney, my husband and I decided to go on a trip. We were offered to have a look at the Louis Vuitton store as VIPs, and we had champagne, and we spent some money at Louis Vuitton on that trip. Well, just before we flew out, maybe the day or 2 beforehand, I went into Prada and wanted this bag in a different color, but they did not have it. It was a pink. I wanted it in a sort of a pink color. She said, no, we don't have it, we have this color. So I fell in love with it. This color just goes with everything. So she was bought in Sydney, which has a special memory as well. So they are my bags for part 2, but don't forget everyone, Ada loves style. See you again next time. Bye. If you like this video, please subscribe, push like, and follow me on Instagram. And don't forget everyone, Ada loves style. See you again next time. Bye.